What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel, Yak Nasty Fishing, and I'm your guy, Jay Small. And today, guys, I'm pretty dang excited. It's been a while since I talked about it, but I still do it as much as possible. We're talking about beating up the bank. Yeah, beating up the bank, walking around that pond, that golf course pond, if you're allowed to. Don't go trespassing, okay? Walking around your local lake, all right? Things of that nature, drainage ponds. Yes, beating up the bank, guys. Walking the bank, fishing, trying to catch these fish. But before we get started, guys, I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers. 551 subs. Okay, guys, our number is continuing to grow. That means we getting some love, y'all. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, man. Also, before we get started, I'd like to shout out a local business. Check them out. If you're in the area, Delaware, Maryland, okay, guys? Taylor Marine. All right. I stopped by Taylor Marine today. I don't have any clips. I probably should have pulled out my phone. But dude, they have a nice selection of baits, locally made baits by a friend of mine, Daryl Willie. Okay. Addiction Baits. Check them out, addictionbaits.com. Okay. Right over at Taylor Marine. Okay, maybe that's two local businesses in this one, guys. But yeah, go check them out. Support these guys, man. It's not much more I can say. I appreciate it. Hit that like, hit subscribe, leave a comment down below for your guy. All right, we're trying to grow this thing and get there. And local businesses, I do believe, are the way to do it. Let's get into beating up the bank. All right, guys. It's been a long time since I've spoke about walking the bank, casting that line. It's probably been about a year, okay? I haven't spoke about bank fishing in a long time. And I felt like I was neglecting some of you guys out there because everything's not done from a kayak or on the water. Most of my time fishing in my life was from the bank. I'm just going to be completely honest. I learned how to fish from the bank. All right. Saltwater fishing, brackish water, freshwater fishing, you name it. I did it all. I still do. And it was from the bank, unless I got on a friend's boat, unless, you know, I did one of those captain rides per se, one of those, what do you call those? One of those guided rides, I should say. All right. Other than that, it was all from the bank, guys. Every time I went fishing, it was from the bank. I was going fishing just about every day, 2-3 hours, walking around the pond or sitting down with some bloodworms and minnows, trying to catch something nice on the salty side. All right, guys. So bank fishing is a huge part of my fishing foundation. And most people that do fish from the bank. There's not as many boats and kayaks out there as one would believe. Like everybody has a boat, everyone has a kayak or some kind of way to travel on the waterways. That's not necessarily the case. Most people I see fishing are fishing from the bank. And with that being said, I just want to give you guys a few tips and tricks to catch more fish from the bank. Bigger fish, possibly. So the first part of beating up the bank is coming to the pond or the lake, the body of water itself. All right. A lot of guys say walk up quietly, try not to cause so much vibration from the bank. I've said that as well, and I have seen the difference in, creeping up versus just running up to that bank edge, and then you scare those bait fish and stuff like that. And that was another tip that I did get from my guy, Lizard Man Fishing. Yep, my homie Ray. I asked him, I said, man, give me 2 tips. All right. And that is one of them. Stay off the edge. Okay. And then I'm adding the creep up quietly part, but with a twist. All right. Before you actually get to that water's edge where you're going to stand and fish, stand off a little bit of distance. All right. Before you get there, and then make that cast. All right. Just to make sure there's nothing there. You may know the area, so it may be okay to just step up to that edge of the bank. But if you don't know the area, stand off it a little bit, make a cast, bring that bait back, see if there's anything right on the edge right there. And if there's nothing, then go ahead and proceed to stand up there, okay, and do your fishing thing. Another tip, find a spot that puts you in reach of the cover. So if you see some pads right there that you can get to, you can fish that edge of those pads. If you see a point, because points are really good, all right, when it comes to bank fishing, all right, because you can always kind of find an adjacent area where you can fish that point. That's for sure. Okay, guys, so points are really good. But you want to kind of be in reach of any intended target, like a laydown, okay? Any brush off on the side of that thing, okay? If you're throwing out toward the middle and you know maybe there's a tire or a shopping cart or something like that, okay, you want to put yourself in reach of that target. Now, once you get in reach of that target, what you're going to want to do is cast past that target. Okay, that's the same concept I use on the water. Also, a lot of us do is you cast past that target and you bring that bait right in front of it, on the side of it, however which you want to present that bait. But you always want to cast past that intended target, guys. Yeah, that'll get you some bites. I'm going to tell you that right now because it gives it that subtle approach. All right, when you're fishing a pond or something small from the bank, you don't have too many chances to spook these fish. You really don't, okay? It's not like a big body of water. If you're out on the water, you spook these fish. You can go over to the side here and then return back later on to attempt to catch those fish. Well, when you're fishing the bank, you're fishing the bank, all right? You're going to cast out, and you want that to go past that target. You do not want to spook the fish. You want to catch the fish, right? All right? So always cast past the intended target and bring it right in front, guys. Another awesome tip, okay? Now this is pretty huge. It's pretty huge. But don't stand on the bank edge with the sun at your back, casting a shadow onto the water. All right? Because your shadow can reach further than you think. All right? So when you're casting that shadow with the sun behind you, you're fishing this way and you got a huge shadow in the water, you're scaring bait fish, okay? Because they can see that from a little distance away. You're scaring the fish that you're trying to catch. All right? You're spooking them. Be careful with casting the shadow, guys. And that's also another tip from the lizard man himself. Yeah, man, that guy, he gave 2 good tips. Stay off the edge and keep the sun in your face. I know it sounds crazy. Most of the time, we're not trying to face that sunbeam and that glare coming off the water kind of blinds you. Well, in that case, I'm going to say you're going to need a good pair of shades, guys. These are the KastKing Hawasis. These are pretty dang good. I gotta say, I've been rocking the KastKing sunglasses for a couple years now, and they work phenomenally. You got your different lenses, all right? So these are more like your copper lenses. You can still kind of see through those. No big deal. They help you out in those overcasty kind of days too. Kind of brightens things up. But I also like the blue lenses, all right? I think they're all polarized, okay? But the blue lenses, I really tend to fish the most. They just help my eyes out, and I don't really get headaches from that glare coming off the water and hitting me in the face, all right? So get you a good pair of shades if you are, facing the sun, doing your fishing, and that glare is popping up. You're going to need some shades, guys. Get you a good hat, stuff like that when you're walking the bank. All right. Always keep your eyes open for snakes also. All right. That tip right there is just off the top of the head. I see a lot of it. Sometimes people are getting bit, water moccasins, garden snakes, stuff like that. Nothing serious, thank God. But, keep your eyes open for the critters running around there, because you are kind of walking around their house. They're not in your house. All right, guys. So keep that in mind. And also, something that's been bugging me, because I went bank fishing the other day. I didn't catch anything when I did go, but what I ended up doing was picking up trash. Okay. There's a bunch of trash everywhere, man. People are leaving trash at the edges of the waters. All that trash is going to end up in the water. Come on, guys. Help me out. Take your trash with you. Pick up the trash. All right. If you see some trash, if you can, I'm not telling you to go pick up all the trash around the body of water. Sometimes I do, especially if I'm not catching any fish. I'll just start picking up trash. Now, see, a lot of people will do this and they're going to throw their string all over the place. We are not going to do that. What we do is ball it up as best we can. Pick a pocket where we're not going to be going in and out of. And keep that trash with us, okay? Because as you can see, as people leave trash, I actually have a couple packs of those Crush City Mayors with me. I'm going to take them. This trash, we're just going to put this trash out. This is ridiculous. All right. Because it's getting on my nerves, to be honest. So just please take your trash with you. All right. If you bring night crawlers to the water's edge, something like that, take that container. If it's empty, throw it in the trash, man. In the trash. Okay, please. I appreciate it. Don't mess up the future water for these kids. All right, guys. All right. There's people that love to fish, and there's people that's going to come behind you that love to fish. Take your trash home. I'm sorry. Went on a little tangent. Didn't mean to do that, but that's just how I feel about it. Now, when bank fishing, your question may be, what baits do I throw when bank fishing? Well, guys, I got some baits for you. The best baits that I find to really work when bank fishing, and you don't have to carry a lot of stuff. You don't want to be walking around with a whole bunch of tackle and a whole bunch of extra junk, like you're on the bass boat with 20 rods and you're just ready to go. No, when bank fishing, you want to carry the least amount of stuff. All right. So I normally take a little bit of hardware with me. I got a small little tackle box. I don't even know what you call it. It's like a Plano box, but not quite. I got a small tackle box, all right, like 2,500 or something like that. It's small. It's pretty small, maybe 1,500, all right, that I put in my backpack, all right. I keep my hardware in there, my hooks, weights that I'm possibly going to use, all right. But the baits I am using are going to be plastics for sure. I use a bunch of soft plastics. I Texas rig those soft plastics, all right? Because when you're fishing a pond, a lake, anywhere from the bank, you don't want to have to deal with a snag, break your line off, retie. You don't want to have to do all that. Nobody wants to do that. That is aggravating and it wastes time, right? So I use the Texas rig as my great staple when I'm bank fishing. And you guys, if you've been here for a while, you know I'm fishing a lizard for sure, a lizard. Normally it's a 6-inch lizard from the bank, but I will throw that 8-inch lizard on. All right, guys. I also like to use crawl style baits. This one by Yum's, the Christy Crawl. This right here in the color camo. Man, dude, this bait is crazy. Let me open this pack right quick. Oh, there we go. A little bit greasy, but it's good. There's good juice on that. That's flavors, right? Look at that Christy Crawl. It's got that green pumpkin, and it has some of that orange, red, copper flake all in that thing right there, guys. This works everywhere. I haven't seen a place it doesn't work. That Christy Crawl really gets the job done. I've used it and caught some big fish with this, but at the same time in tournaments when I needed to catch something, it also caught something that was a keeper. So yeah, get you a crawl style bait, a lizard style bait, creature baits. Those work for sure. All right. I will also Texas rig a rage tail. All by itself, just Texas rig a rage tail and kind of swimming through that column. It gets big, guys. Oh my gosh. Of course, we're throwing worms. All right. These are just the soft plastics. You don't need all of these. You could probably just pick one or two, walk around your pond, your lake, and bang off that bank all day long with a pack or two of all these baits that I'm talking about. This here is the Thumping Dinger, and that's green pumpkin. But you guys know I love throwing the Thumping Dinger if you've been around for a while. And if you're new here, thank you for joining. Hit that like, hit subscribe, and leave a comment down below for your guy. Yes, indeed. All right. But the worm is an awesome plastic. It's very versatile. And not just the kicking worm there. All right. Not a thumping worm, but, you know, stick bait. All day long, guys. Stick bait. Wacky rig. It works fantastic when you're fishing it from the bank as well, guys. The only issue is sometimes when you're dealing with that slope coming up, there's a little snag. You might get a root coming out there. You can possibly snag, but they do have the weedless wacky setups, guys. So don't be afraid to go get that. Another plastic I like to use is some kind of beaver style bait. All right. That's more of a crawl right here. I got a beaver. There we go. Right? So the next category of bait, right? Next plastic is going to be a beaver style bait. Like, you know, Reaction Innovation Sweet Beaver. Get you a Sweet Beaver. Texas rig that monkey on there. Okay. I'm normally Texas rigging with about a 1/16 ounce weight, bullet weight, worm weight. Okay. Or an 1/8 ounce worm weight, bullet weight. Okay. That's it. I'm not really going to go too much heavier than that unless I'm trying to punch through some scum, because some of those ponds are just scum ponds. You can throw and punch right up in there, go a little bit heavier, 1/4 ounce, 1/2 ounce, okay, even all the way up to 1 ounce to get that thing down up in there, depending on how thick that cheese is, right? All right. And another soft plastic that kills the game. Now, I told you, you don't need all of these. You only need 1 or 2. Grab 1 or 2 of these packs, go out there and walk that bank. A fluke, okay? Get you a fluke. A fluke style bait, weightless in a pond, is my gosh money, okay? You will get bit, all right? That fluke, I do go for the smaller size flukes, okay? Because in the ponds, they're not really used to giant shad swimming around, all right, guys? They're used to small minnows, little guppies. So smaller fluke, okay? This one, just a normal size 4-inch fluke. But if you get a smaller one, throw that thing weightless on your spinning rod, dude, you will get bit. Just work that thing, kill it, work that thing, kill it. And man, those strikes, it can be pretty aggressive. All right. So that's about it for soft plastics, what I'm going to be throwing on my pond or lake from the bank. Texas rig, lightweight, get it out there, let that thing work. Sometimes you might have to soak it, give it its couple pumps, all right, and you will get bit, guys. All right. Soft plastics are the most versatile baits out there. A lot of people don't even know. A lot of people don't know. And of course, you could drop shot, you could do all that other stuff, but most effective and efficient is the Texas rig. You won't be losing a lot of hardware if you do get snagged up somewhere. Normally you don't. Of course, it's a weedless presentation, but you know, let's say your plastic slips and you get snagged, you're not losing a lot of tackle in that situation if you have to break it off. All right, so the Texas rig is my #1 go-to bank beating technique. All right, the next technique that I love to use on a pond. Now, we were talking about scum. We were talking about the cheese. A frog. Throw a frog, guys. Do I got one up here? Oh, my goodness. Throw a frog. A frog. I just got some new frogs from Pro Staffer over at Targaryen Baits. These frogs are awesome. Look at that. Look at that little blade on that thing. Oh my goodness. The design on these frogs is pretty dang amazing. And you could tell these things get bit. All right. But get a frog. Get a frog. Look at that. Another one by Targaryen. Nice, small. It's a more compact frog. It's definitely smaller than the one we just looked at by quite a bit. All right. Get a frog. Throw that frog, okay? That top water. Throw that frog out there. If you got a little bit of algae bloom, you got a little bit of junk on it, throw a frog. You see pads over there? Throw over there to them pads edge. Bring that thing on out and you will get bit. A frog is one of the funnest ways when fishing from the bank. Because when you get that, when they get sucks in that frog and oh my God, man, most of those bites are just so aggressive because ponds, they're used to seeing lizards, swimming across, the salamanders swimming across, the frogs, tadpoles, things of that nature. And guys, they just go at it and they go hard, man. Get that bite. That frog is a fun bite. Another top water that I do like to use on ponds is a whopper plopper. Now, this is a pond, of course, with a no scum. You don't want the cheese on there. That's not going to work out with the treble hooks, which you got a clear surface on that water. Get your whopper plopper. Get that thing right here. Get that whopper plopper, guys. This is the 110, and that's in the bone color right here. This thing is money. This one in the black. I do love throwing the black one, especially on a good sunny, bright day. I will throw the black one versus this one. I just feel like they can see it better. It's just a black blob coming across the top of that fish, and they're not sure what it is, and they go strike it. Okay, so the whopper plopper is a great top water for pond fishing as long as you don't have scum and a bunch of junk you can get snagged on. Another bait that I do like to use, all right, when I'm pond fishing is a square bill. I don't think I pulled one out, but a square bill. I use the 1.5 KVD. I like to use the hard knot, all right? But with the square bill, the trick is you'll throw it out there, you'll get it out to the middle. Now, you can kind of reel the depth, right? But then as you get closer to yourself with that sloping angle coming upward, not like fishing from the water, casting to the bank, you can kind of reel it down that slope and you'll be just fine. Coming back up that slope, you're going to reel it normal at the beginning, but then you're going to slow it down, even pause that bait so it can rise in that water column and stay off the junk, okay? And don't get snagged up on that slope because sometimes those slopes do have some root balls on them, some branches, some brush, sticks, some debris down there that you can get snagged on. So you're just going to want to use your better judgment and kind of walk it back to where that square bill is kind of coming at an upward slant with that bank. All right, guys. So I do love a crankbait on a pond. It gets bit, especially those smaller ones, like that 1.5. You can go smaller with the little fat boys and stuff like that. But I do like that KVD 1.5, and I give it that slower reel on the way back. And man, it gets bit, especially on the paws. Oh my gosh, that gets bit. Another great bait for pond fishing. And I know I'm throwing a lot of baits out here, and it can be probably slightly confusing, guys. But with that being said, you just pick the couple you're comfortable with and walk around that lake, that pond, that drainage ditch, whatever it is you're fishing from the bank. Just pick a couple baits and go get them. All right. But another bait that I love to fish, okay, from the bank, and I've learned how to fish it from the bank way back when I was young, man. Spinnerbait. All right. I used to walk up and down this pond and just throw a spinnerbait. All right. And you can cover so much water with a spinner bait. You can find out where the aggressive ones are. And then you can probably switch up to something slower once you find the area and start really catching those fish. Come on, man. But a spinner bait is a really good fish finder in a pond or a lake when you're fishing from the bank. It's not weedless, but it is very weed resistant. Okay, this blade with this wire here, you're really protecting that hook, so you don't really get snagged up as much, okay, with a spinner bait as you would with other baits. All right, especially those treble hook baits. So these baits, guys, are awesome when fishing from the bank. This is a very sneaky bait. I do like using this bait a lot when I'm fishing from the bank. I've used it on the water, you know, when I'm out and about on the water, but I really like to throw this bait from the bank. It gives me a little bit of versatility. It works very well, and most of the time you don't have to tie on 2 different baits or 3 different baits. You can kind of just work with the one, and that is the Unitoad. This is a toad-shaped bait with a boot tail. Come on, man. It doesn't get any better than that, man. You can throw this thing weightless. All right. It doesn't float, but it has a very slow sink. But if you work it, as soon as it hits that water surface, splash, you start working it, it's not going to really fall past the top 6 to 8 inches of water. All right. So that top foot of the water column, man, that subsurface. Oh my gosh. Look, it's not even in the water and I'm just getting excited. But you work that, and that tail gets to kick in. All right. But it has a frog-like body. It's crazy. It works. It gets big, guys. So yeah, work this thing weightless, top column. Man, some of those strikes are aggressive. You'll see some just kind of burst up out of that water to come get this thing. All right, this is a secret weapon of mine. I wasn't sure if I was going to tell you about it, but the Unitoad, this is an awesome bait to throw. Now, sometimes I'll put a little weight on it, a little 1/8 ounce or a 1/16 ounce weight, and I'll just want to swim it somewhere in the middle, depending on where the fish seem to bite. But most of the time, I'm throwing it weightless, and I'm just working it back, working it back, working it back. So this thing is a beast when it comes to catching fish, all right? Don't tell everybody, but tell everybody, all right? Get a Unitoad. It works fantastically from the bank. All right, guys, now that we've covered the baits, we've covered the basics, you know, don't run down to the bank and don't cast a shadow. Don't make a lot of noise, disturbing, you know, all that good stuff, right? Now, the best days to go fishing from the bank, warm, overcasty days, guys. Yeah, warm, overcast, all right? Even sometimes when it's rained already or it's about to rain, since you're fishing from the bank, maybe you can run to your truck or, you know, I personally don't mind fishing in the rain a little bit. I fish in the rain a lot when I can. I don't know what it is, but when bank fishing, it's not like I'm out on the water, so I can just go hit this pond. And if it's a light little sprinkle, I will go fish this pond and I'll catch fish. All right. I like a nice overcast day, nice warm overcast day with a little breeze. Of course, you're going to have some breeze with that overcast, right? And man, those fish they just come unglued, dude, man. They're biting everything, you know, they're feeding up, you know, it's right in front of a storm system or something like that. And you know, these fish are feeding up, get that low pressure, and they're hungry, man. So they're gonna feed up and try to wait the storm out. And that to me is the best time to go fishing, man. Like right now we got some overcasty skies. Hurricane Erin is in the vicinity of the East Coast, probably off about 100 miles or so, and it's overcast. We have breeze. Perfect time to go bank fishing right now, guys. And that doesn't exclude nice days. All right, bluebird sky days, you can catch fish out there. Okay, other alternating type of weather's going on. you can catch fish. Every day is a good day to go bank fishing, guys. But the best day is when there's a little overcast. One, the sun is not beating you on your face and you're just sweating. You're just out there between every cast. You know what I mean? So, yeah, overcast days, warm breeze are the best days. All right. Not just for the fish bite, but for you getting your exercise walking around that pond or lake, guys. So, yeah, man, I hope these tips helped out. Hit that like, hit subscribe, leave a comment down below if you have any tips, tricks you would like to add to beating the bank. You know, walking around that pond, that drainage pond, that lake edge, okay? If you have any tips, leave them down in the comments, man. Somebody else will come behind, read that, and probably appreciate that tip you left behind for them. All right, guys. Hey, with that being said, it is my time to go. Tight lines and all that good stuff everybody says. Peace. Thanks, bro. Whew. Oh, man. Oh, man, that was a good one. Oh, yeah. Whew. Off that lizard. Tell you, take that anywhere, baby. Oh, that's nice. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's nice, baby. Off you go. Woo!